Now, I am not going to bring in the panel yet. Because you know where me are going now? I take a walk go down KSMC.
Yeah.
Because they might call me down there. So I take a look at track. Go down KSMC before I bring in the panel.
So you say you go check further?
Yeah, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to check further.
There's some handcuff for you.
Yeah. So I make sure say I call and tell Swaby. You understand? So just move out of the way because I come. Because Swaby clean, you know. I'm not going to clean people. We're going to the corruptors.
Yeah, man.
So Mr. Swaby, take for yourself. Mystic Sensation will come. Put up the KSMC review. Me and them tonight. Different thing tonight. You know? I tell them, sir, no matter about PNP this and PNP that, I tell them, sir, if you see people business and leave it alone, you know. Hallelujah.
Don't you trouble Zion. The real Zion. The real Zion.
No, when I play that one round here, so.
No, the real
that Andrew Wall is corrupted, sir.
No, I'm not female. I thief him from the church. We're talking about the real Zion.
Well, you see, Trim use it already, Pastor Ricky. We don't want nothing where Andrew Wall is using. Anything Andrew Wall is touch it contaminated, you know.
True.
A virus, you know.
True tight and blood.
All right.
No. Yes. All right. Yes. KSMC reviewing IC report on building breach by company linked to the Prime Minister. We'll go through that. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation state is reviewing the findings of an investigation by the Integrity Commission, which revealed that a company linked to Prime Minister Andrew Holness and his business partner Norman Brown built an apartment complex in St. Andrew with more rooms than permitted, breaching the law. Now, let me call Swaby. And Swaby, I want you to act proactively in Swaby. You understand what I said? Yes, I like what you say here. That you are going to go in depth. But Swaby, what I want you to add on your list for me.
East flat.
I want you to add least flat on your list. Me like, oh, Pastor Ricky, the point me, you know. Pastor Ricky, you know what I come here?
Pastor Ricky, privy to your intellectual analysis
Capacity
of where you're going, you know. It's
all
a
right.
part of the process.
Exactly. So we are here, right? The reporter statement in Parliament today, Kevin Stevenson, Director of Investigation at the Commission, said the Municipal Corporation had failed to ensure compliance. And not only that, they failed to ensure compliance, let me call it out for what it is. The KSMC, right? Agents of the KSMC had also aiding and abetting corruption. That need to be there, right? They also aid and abet the corruption. Stevenson explained that the permit allowed for the construction of 4 two-bedroom units at the 2 Wycliffe Close, Beverly Hills, St. Andrew. However, following an inspection, he found 4-bedroom townhouses. Let me say something. Where I think I am going, let me explain before I go into the next step. I want to show the Jamaican people, locally and in the diaspora, the corruption that extends to the DPP office and extend to the corruption prosecutor. So, of course, I have to bring back in space, and it relates to NWC, right, president, right? Who the DPP had used statute of limitation, right, and allow him to avoid prosecution. The clip that I'm going to play is going to show the blatant corruption of the DPP. I want to explain it. So then the DPP used statute of limitation to ensure, right, that the NWC president avoided prosecution. The corruption prosecutor, as it relates to the illegal awarding of contracts, right, that go to Gavin, right, when Andrew was the Minister of Education, uses what you call abuse of process, right, to stop that case, right, against Andrew Holness. Okay. Why am I going to play this clip? It is important in terms of what we are going to hear what the DPP says. So I found the DPP at a seminar, and the DPP was speaking, so I want to guide people through the clip. The DPP was speaking at the seminar that the prosecution and the DPP, the prosecutors, right, also included police investigators, need to work in collaboration with the DPP to prosecute case. People, I want you to listen to this. I'm going to play the clip. The DPP is saying that to have a successful case prosecuted, the prosecutor and investigators need to work together. And as a matter of fact, the DPP was also making reference of financial crimes. The DPP also make reference, right, that financial crime is not so sexy, right, to be prosecuted, and so it is important for the DPP and investigators to work together. That is what the DPP said. That is what the DPP said. So by the DPP saying that, the DPP now would have aware of statute of limitation and know that the DPP and the investigators need to work in tandem, anticipating statute of limitation and ensure that they gathered all the evidence, put it in court, and don't allow statute of limitation to exercise. People, it's not funny. We want you to listen to Paula LLwelyn as it relates to what Paula LLwelyn said, and then after Paula LLwelyn came and committed herself. People, without any delay.
Good morning, all distinguished participants, distinguished presenters. Young man, the only thing you forgot was Paula Vanessa LLwelyn. I love my middle name. I think that this conference has come at a very good time in our history. And of course, we know the big elephant that is in the room, but none of us here should be intimidated by it, because it's a conference like this that helps to reaffirm, reassure all of us that we are capable. And one of my favorite phrases, that after this conference, our testicular fortitude will be further entrenched to meet the challenges. Now, prosecuting financial crimes, I understand I have about 20 minutes, so I'm going to go through quickly. Okay. Who is the prosecution? The prosecution means not just the prosecutors who appear in court, but includes persons such as police officers and other state officials connected with the investigation and conduct of the case against the accused person. And this was reformulated by Mr. Justice Panton in the Jamaican Court of Appeal in a case involving a police officer as the accused, Harry Daly, and the Queen. So it means that even though the investigator may think, this information here that I've gathered, this statement, this video, this CCTV reel, it's not relevant. If the prosecution does not disclose it at a later date, that non-disclosure after a conviction in the Court of Appeal and the Privy Council, we can pay the penalty for it and the conviction will be quashed. So we are joined at the hip, the investigator and the prosecutor to make the prosecution. So we have prosecutors being the clerk of courts in the parish.
People, you hear what the DPP said? That the DPP, the prosecutor, right? The DPP, right? The prosecutor and the investigators tied at the hip.
The IC.
Tied at the hip. And so then they are to work together. I'm only patching you through this. Play it on it.
Court, prosecutors in the DPP's office, Crown Counsel. We have prosecutors with state agencies like MOCA, FID, Integrity Commission, and we have any external attorney who has a fiat from me to prosecute. Now, how does the prosecutor prosecute? It is a wise and prudent prosecutor who makes sure that, especially in technical cases, you have case collaboration and case consultation with the investigator. It is an even more intelligent, astute, and wise investigator who makes sure that they never, ever subjugate their common sense to that demon ego. And excess of ego will neutralize common sense, because ultimately, even if you gather all the evidence that you believe is relevant, if certain things are not picked up, certain challenges are not picked up from day one, loopholes are not closed, it may still mean that you go to court and the prosecutor is given a lemon, so to speak, and the case falls apart. So for strategic and effective investigations, to determine what investigative tools are best, determining the way to proceed in addition to the substantive charges, for example, larceny, fraudulent conversion, whether we're going to have forfeiture proceedings, civil recovery, money laundering charges to be laid, or whether you have criminal charges that are to be laid, whether they are appropriate, what is most appropriate. Case consultation is very valuable. And let me be quite clear.
Take that away.
For, I would say, the average prosecutor.
Take that away. Now, the prosecutor, DPP, Paula LLwelyn says, it's a wise prosecutor that works in collaboration with the investigator, putting the case together, right, to prosecute. Dotting all the I's carefully, crossing all the T's. Now, let us take Paula LLwelyn's word for what she said. Then why, when you have the investigator investigating cases involving these politicians, right, that the prosecutor, right, do work with the investigators, anticipating that statute of limitation given at a particular time, and they need to work in collaboration to make sure that the statute of limitation doesn't click in. Now let us move as it relates to, so contrary as it relates to what Paula LLwelyn said. Let's look. Now remember that we listened to the clip, and Paula LLwelyn said the prosecutors and the investigators are to work together. Collect all the evidence, right? And work in a collaborative way to have a successful prosecution. Now watch this now, people. NWC president and his wife to escape criminal charges despite breaching NRCA Act. Now look at this. Suspended head of the National Water Commission, Mark Barnett, and his wife, attorney at law, Annette Francis Barnett will not face criminal charges despite being found guilty of breaching the National Resources Conservation Authority Act. In a ruling dated January 10, 2024, Director of Public Prosecution, Paula LLwelyn, said, though the allegations against the two support the laying of criminal charges against Mark Barnett and Annette Francis Barnett for breaching the environmental permit, which is an offense under the NRCA, the initiation of the prosecution is time sensitive, and it having not been initiated within 12 months, within 1 year of the breach being identified, the criminal action is now statute bar. Therefore, there can be no prosecution. Take that away. Now, when we look at that,
yeah, well, you know, as usual, we know it's a corrupted set of people Andrew Wellness assembled around him, you know. And these people always find ways and means to corrupt high-profile cases as it relates to politicians and people who are connected to Andrew Wellness and his panty scheme. So it was no surprise when she come out, you know, and carry out this, I would call it a PR presentation as usual. Yeah, because she never practiced nothing where she preach.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, them have this little flimsy law in Jamaica as it relates to statutory, you know, procedure, running out the clock, so to speak, slow down the process, so to speak, and then come tell us, boy, you know, due process have to take course, while a case never been tried, but people get where for criminal activities. Because we know from the outset, Paula LLwelyn align herself to Andrew Wellness. Because, you know, we see with them extend her and still want to give her another extension, which is not in keeping with the Constitution. You can only get one extension as a DPP. And after that one extension, you are not up for any more re-election. But we see how Andrew Wellness them try. Them endeavor best. That's why them can't move her out of the space and we are paying for 2 DPP right now, you know.
Exactly.
Because she has to be still there protecting the corrupt empire. You understand?
Here you go.
So we know as critical thinkers, no matter how them come and speak eloquent, you know, we can unravel the lies that come out of their mouth. And we can clearly look at the corruption that they are orchestrating in order to enhance their own profile. So we know for a fact, say, even Paula LLwelyn, she needs to be investigated for corruption.
Okay.
Within her time as the DPP.
I would endorse that.
And what we have to look at with more, you know, interest is why is she still occupying that space when we already hear that Thompson is the new DPP. So here it is once again, the problem we have in Jamaica. But I'm glad that, you know, we are seeing an emergence within the judicial system as it relates to these, you know, judges and things like that out there. As I said, they have been cognizant to the fact that the People's National Party is ahead in the poll, and they know it will only be a change of government that is eminent in regard to such a wide, you know, advantage in the poll. So some of them are trying to get themselves in order. Yeah. And this is why now the barriers start to break down from around Andrew Holness. And this is why we know as we speak that Andrew Holness is a dead man walking in layman terms. He's a dead man walking. Because Andrew Holness know for a fact.
Melvin Park, I wanted to give more clarity to that when I said dead man walking, because we don't want people believe that we are threatening the prime minister.
Yeah, we don't want to strike.
That's why I use the reference in layman terms, and I'm trying to, add more to what we are saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we are not here to threaten anyone's life,
Exactly. We have to make that clear.
Yeah. Because we know that would be a criminal offense.
Exactly.
So we are not here to do that.
So we have to put that out there. All right.
So, we are here just to use a narrative, so to speak.
Yes.
As it relates to him not standing a chance.
Yes.
So make a more formalize it. Him coming like a snowball in a ice.
Yes.
Snowball in a sun.
And you're speaking to his political career.
Right.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Coming like the snowball out in the sun as it relates to his political career, as it relates to him being the prime minister of Jamaica.
Yes.
And as it relates to all that is going on within his, terms of office and the wrongdoings that we are seeing coming up. Previously, there were allegations. Now there are more, facts.
Exactly.
So that's where we are at the moment,
All right. Good.
Yes. So in the sense of I using that terms, it never mean a threat. It's just a reference as we would use it as to theorize what we are analyzing.
His political career being written out.
It's written out, yes.
All right.
That's where it's going.
So
we have to look at all these things and discuss them in more in-depth analysis.
Right.
And there's no way that the Jamaican electorate would want to have the face of the country up for re-election, running as a candidate in the upcoming general election. So we want, some speeding up operation as it relates to getting this matter settled and coming up with the final analysis as to what are, the final charges that he should face.
All right.
Because we can't have him going into the election as the leader for the GLP. And we all know that him should never even be the prime minister for Jamaica at the moment as we speak.
True.
Because there's so much that would disbar him from the office of the prime minister in another democratic country. Because democracy have to be the paramount, of how you analyze selective representative. They have to govern in a democracy way that, uphold democracy within the country. Because the democratic process is one that ties in with the laws of the land. And that is what everyone is, focusing on. Because the law cannot be for me, Byron, Pastor Ricky, and Jamaics. But it's not for those people over on the other side. The law has to be for everyone that govern everyone. And the principle of the law is that it should be upheld at all times, regardless of who is in the space.
Exactly.
So we have to get the justice and we have to get it right. And this is why I fully applaud the Integrity Commission for, exercising due diligence as it relates to giving him what he wants. I remember Jamaics using a narrative like catching fish, but you feel him on your hook and you give him some length and you make him carry on and then you pull him back in. You understand? Because, we don't want, when all is said and done, then we hear that, okay, there's another appeal because due diligence was not used or was not exercised as it related to him. So everything is, you know, well in motion. And, you know, people might look at it and say, well, it's a bit too slow, but I think they will get it done before the election. As the date clearly states, it should be on trial date is the 31st of March 2025, right? And the case management hearing is set for the 7th of February 2025.
Yeah.
So that would give us enough time to get this matter, you know, settled once and for all.
Exactly.
And hopefully get rid of this monster out of a political landscape. Because the political landscape have to reshape, you know, in order for Jamaica to go forward. In order for the people in Jamaica to have, you know, a safe environment. Yeah, where they can live, work, and raise a family. And even for the visitor, the tourists to come to Jamaica. It need a revamp. It need to be reset. It need to be recalibrated. Because what is there on the ground, as we currently speak, is a non-existing government, non-existing leadership from within the government. Because the Prime Minister is gone missing for a long time now, where leadership is concerned. Because if that wasn't the case, then we wouldn't even be here mentioning Dalrymple as she wanting to come back. Would have seen people like Floyd Green. Would have seen people like George Wright. They would have been kicked out because of what we saw, you know, and the evidence are there. Those people could not stand for re-election or continue their parliamentarian duty in other jurisdiction anywhere in the world. They would have to leave office. And there are many more from within. But we just single out these few because, you know, we say man abusing woman. We say man breaking pandemic protocol and no movement there and celebrating and making a mockery of the Jamaican society. And then we see where people break law constitutionally as it relates to statutory declaration and under investigation, but coming back wanting to be in the space for re-election. And the narrative that is coming from the Prime Minister is that she was unanimously chosen by the people of South Trelawney. And I find that to be fundamentally wrong because no one did even oppose her. So that's a shamble right there and then.
Exactly.
What we are looking at is just the high level of corruption, and I yield back to another member of the panel.
All right. Well said, Titans. As it relates to, you know, the DPP, right, saying one thing, right, as it relates to having, right, the prosecutor and the investigator working together, right, to have a successful prosecution. This is what came out of the DPP mouth, but yet we have seen, right, in the case of the NWC, right, where is the prosecutor, right, who worked in collaboration with the investigator, anticipating the statute of limitation time to be 12 months and should be working, right, assiduously to ensure that that time did not pass, but all the evidence would have been collected and the case would put into the court so that we wouldn't have statute of limitation, right, to be activated. Now, since I'm saying that, Pastor Ricky, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Byron, and thank you, General Light Melting Pot. What we're witnessing is a culture of corruption manifesting right before our eyes. And the DPP, Paula, is the criminal government, JLP government, guardian against prosecution. The rule of law is clear in terms of the Constitution, in terms of and the IC Act, how you should prosecute corruption, and the Corruption Prevention Act is very clear. So she has the resources, the methodologies, the tools, the investigators that she collaborates with, as she eloquently pointed out in her speech, to derive at a position to prosecute. That's why they're prosecutors, to prosecute. Now, if we go back to 2020 and just roll back the curtain of memory a little bit, we can recall when her tenure was extended extra 3 years. They gave her 3 years instead of 5 years to 2023. Now, criminal justice minister, who's in a cesspool of corruption himself, amended the law to extend her an extra 2 years to September next year, 2025. So as of September this year passed, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, her age was 64, which means according to the new law that they amended, she has 1 more year left that she can serve if the court didn't step in and nullify her tenure, meaning that it's vacant, it's void. She's no longer eligible to serve as the DPP. And so they fought so hard for her to stay because that's their weapon to keep them out of jail. Yes, that's their method of how to prevent them from being prosecuted. Now, them specialize in running out the clock, like you said earlier, Sir Byron. Run out the statute of limitation. The water commissioner should have been in prison. He's not above the law.
Definitely.
He should have been locked up, just like a regular youth off of the street when them, commit a crime. There's no excuse why he wasn't locked up. But again, we're dealing with a culture of corruption in the Jamaica Labour Party.
There you go. No excuse.
Exactly. She should have prosecuted the prime minister the first time. But she collaborated with the director of the DCP, director of corruption, prosecutor, the DCP, right? They collaborate together and make him walk free. And if they prosecute him, he wouldn't be here today, and we wouldn't be talking about half of the stuff we're talking about. But it just shows you how the criminal minds think alike. They're supposed to be lawmakers and not lawbreakers. They're supposed to hold people accountable for when they do wrong and take them, as they come before the court. But instead, they're in this cover-up scheme, and it got so, the stench of cover-up is so strong that you can't stand at the diaspora and smell the corruption while going in Jamaica. Whether you live in England, Canada. Yeah, it stinks in our nostrils. But it just goes to show you that they needed her to guard them and protect them from being prosecuted. And they would have go off the rails. They would have do anything, move earth and heaven to get her to stay in the office of the DPP. Now, Patrick Bailey, the Prime Minister former lawyer, as you eloquently pointed out, had a body in his house with 21 stab wounds and a gunshot bust him marrow, him skull run out, him marrow run out on the ground in him living room. Him claim him asleep. Him claim say him not hear no commotion, no noise, no gunshot. So he must have been in the REM stage of sleeping, the 5th stage of, where you're falling out.
So true. So true.
There's no way you're gonna have a boom in your house and it don't wake you up. No matter if you're in the basement or the top level or the middle level, you're gonna hear it.
He had a rough.
Him probably did drink before him go to bed. But now I'm an excuse. Probably did drunk, probably have them little RG go on and God forgive, I repent, amen. But nevertheless, So him should have a prison, but what them do? The corruption him doctor put him on bed rest. Me and you have a body in our house with 21 stab wound and
I'm gone to jail.
our prison was gone, man. Come on, let's be for real.
We're done.
Get off of the hook because I am the mastermind behind ADMAT and the shell company them, the offshore company them with the Chapter 28 have and the offshore bank accounts. Well, we're not talk about because they have only for offshore bank account, but we're gonna leave that alone for another day. So when you look at the role she played, and you know, she's the longest serving DPP. I believe she came to office in 2012.
You are correct. He's the longest serving.
Fighting for her to continue. So to protect the corruption that is happening in our country, Jamaica need a real makeover in the government, man. And that's why I'm so glad that Comrade Leader Mark Golden, big up yourself anyway, in the country. He was a minister of justice. And he's gonna make sure his justice minister. I hope he make Isaac Comrade Isaac Buchanan, the big attorney in Jamaica. The only man who got to the Privy Council and squash a big case where the whole world are talk about it even today.
All right.
I hope Comrade Leader make him be the justice minister of Jamaica. Because there's so many reforms that need
definitely love that. I would definitely love that.
There's so much reforms that needs to take place in our justice system in Jamaica, and as it relates to the rule of law, this criminal enterprise shower posse labor right, the CIA unclassified document labeled the Jamaica shower posse as a criminal organization involving illicit drug trafficking, gun trafficking, money laundering, and droppings of people. And they're coming from the 80s with Siaga. We know the Godfather Tivoli Yard before them burn him up in a prison because them know why I'm talking. You know, bring that posse together. So from them time they don't cover up criminality and corruption. But I'm just saying, these people, the whole of them need to go to prison. There is no doubt about it in my mind. On a serious note, the appear criminal in the Jamaica Labour Party. The government, them are criminal.
Speaking
all of them. Look how much of them there before the courts right now. Look how much of them have visa and bar from the United States and can't even come in a foreign. I mean, look how much of them was U.S. dual citizen and still are sitting in the parliament to this day. I will know about it. They're law breakers. These people are not lawmakers. They're law breakers. And they need to be held accountable, because as long as these people are in government, we're going to see high crimes, illicit drugs, trafficking coming into Jamaica, all these buses of the white lady. Let me say this, and this is my last point. Can I get 2 more minutes, Sir Byron?
No, yes, go ahead.
Come on, big respect. You see all of them white lady, what them claim them bus a Basca Bell, plane coming from the beach at Clarendon. Upper Northwest, St. Andrew area, where them lock up five elderly people and say after them things. So we know the story, girl. But anyhow, you see all of them, we never and the guns that were coming at Jamaica. Think about this for a minute. And I'm so glad I'm surrounded with critical thinkers. We never see or hear anything about the disposal of anything them seize. So in my opinion, when them do these buses, them do it for the camera. For sure, the US government and the UK government and the Canadian government say them a fight crime. But I strongly believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that when they make these seizures, them recycle it back to the intended owner. And that's why we never hear of nobody getting locked up. We never hear about nobody getting prosecuted. I mean, we have a DPP that doesn't even follow through on these crimes that is committed. And so when they must seize these things, how do they dispose it? We never hear nothing about it. We never hear, oh, them dispose the gun, them will come in. We never hear nothing about it. It's being recycled back to the intended owner. So when you see a boat pan the river in Portland are coming with the white lady and the green grass. Them thing that are just for the camera, because after the camera shut off and them fixer come out and give a speech, yeah, we know who the people them who involved in this, we're gonna lock them up. After that, nobody know hear nothing else about it. So them recycle it and send it back to the intended owner, and then the intended owner do what they want to do with it. Corruption, man, widespread corruption. And a lady like Paula, who's supposed to stand for justice, justice matters, stand for the rule of law, stand for the Constitution. Jamaica is a country of laws that's guided by the Constitution, a document that is written, whether it was written by the colonialists or anything. We have a Constitution that guides us in terms of making to make justice prevail. And we're not seeing under this government and this DPP where justice is prevailing. Only for the ghetto youth, them, the young bangers, them, where them used to run them things, and when them want to get rid of them for not leave no more trail, them they send JCF to take them out. A culture of corruption. And I yield right now. Amen. Thank you.
You are so right. You're so right, Pastor Ricky. And you mentioned something as it relates to the disposal of these so-called weapons. Fine, right? We are not seeing the transparency into ensure that those weapons being found not put back in what we call circulation.
Yeah,
that is very critical. It is something that the public, right, need to rest assured with, as it relates to be cognizant of what happening as it relates to how those weapons being finally disposed of. Very, very, very.
And the white lady too, because they make billions of dollars, you know, buy what it costs, JUTC bus and all them things there.
Very solid point.
Byron.
Dirty money, yeah, man.
Yes,
Byron, I'm panelist. You know, I have, you know, make that suggestion, you know, as it relates to when you get illegal firearm and you confiscate drugs, we need to see the disposal of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It needs to be on camera.
Exactly.
You understand? So, I mean, I've said it to them more than one occasion, but I don't know if they're taking heed, and it don't seem like they're taking heed.
Well,
because as Pastor Ricky rightly said, you know, we don't know if it's been recycled and go back to its intended, you know, place of origin, where it's supposed to end up.
Yes.
So it's, as Pastor Byron Ricky said, it's just for the camera.
Yeah.
So that UK and Canada and America can see like them doing some work.
Yes.
But what we're seeing is like, you know, it's foolishness going on. But you know, take it away.
Yes. I am going to bring Jamaica in the space, but before I bring Jamaica in the space, right? As it relates to, you know, this administration wanting the DPP, right, to stay in, right? We are going to show the case, the primary case, where Andrew Holness administration wanting to keep the Paula LLwelyn. The primary case, right, that is essential to bring down the entire administration of Andrew Holness. The primary case that Andrew Holness want, right, Paula LLwelyn, right, to defend and to make sure that this case doesn't go into the judiciary. We are going to pull up that case as it relates to after Jamaica speaks. So Jamaica, please take it away.
Hey, thank you. It's good to speak again on few business.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a dark day being associated or being a family member with the JLP party, because they're going to throw you under the bus. They're going to throw you under the bus. Darren Pilla threw Fear was his sister under the bus. The Prime Minister threw his sister and his son under the bus. So be careful. Family members, you might be under the bus next. But when you look at it, we are seeing kleptocracy being displayed under this government, and It's simple meaning that you're not just seeing one place of corruption, you're seeing a whole system of corruption, and it is reaping havoc on the Jamaican people. And you're seeing also, it's Christmas time, eh? You remember in the town here, you always see those 3-card man come out. A 3-card government man, and the government is operating like a scammer. And therefore, it gives room for a lot of scammings to happen. And so this is something that we have to get rid of. It's not sustainable. We cannot have a bright future when we have corruption. Corruption steals from the children. It steals from the elderly. It steals from the hospital. It steals from our security system. It steals from education. And most importantly, it robs us of a future. So therefore, corruption is a major, and it's something that we need to pay great attention to. From 2012, Paula LLwelyn been the DPP. And can the Jamaican people say, what is your rate of conviction, prosecution, to say, is it a success? Let us know. You spoke about a wise and a prudent DPP or prosecutor. But you did not do the due diligence to ensure that you collaborated with the investigator to ensure that a person like Mark Barnett, who has breached policies and should be held accountable, you didn't do that. So you're now saying to the Jamaican people that you are not a wise and a prudent DPP. So why should we pay you?
That's the point.
So why should we pay you? And the worst thing what I see as well, you know, I remember my aunt used to tell me a story about somebody she went to culinary school with called Mundle. So Mundle could tell you everything about the theory, about baking, and when Mundle started to make the rock cakes, they're actual rock but no cake involved. So it's the same thing that the president, so the DPP can come and read pretty words, but yet still cannot follow the simple steps that she spoke about. So why is it we should feel comfortable as the Jamaican people to pay you to do nothing? So we answer those questions. I feel with this, we have the power. We should have the power to fire and hire who we want. And we say we're ready to fire this government, yeah? And we're ready to fire this DPP, yeah? Because right now we're in confusion. Are we paying for 1 DPP, 2 DPP? What is the
two DPPs we're paying.
And what is the subliminal messages that you're passing on to Jamaica to tell us that our females who we're supposed to love and cherish, we need to move now the retirement age from 60 to 65 just because this one lady wants to hug up corruption and continue the sufferation of Jamaicans? No, man, that is not what we deserve. That is not what we paid for. We paid for proper professionals to do proper job. And when we look at you, Miss LLwelyn, please, just leave the Jamaican people. Leg off our shot. Yeah? I'm 31. I'm 31 years old. And I've never voted. And I was always of the opinion that both political parties are the same. So, pardon me sometimes when I speak, I am still learning about the due process in politics. I'm able to learn from Pastor Ricky. I'm able to learn from Melting Pot, Mystic, also Rattigan, and other people out here that are learning. So we're in a very critical time, very uncomfortable time. But in discomfort, this is the opportunity to grow. So I say to the listeners, the viewers, take notes, share information, because after we inform people, then we can take actions. we can't take action without information. You understand? So it's good that we come in here to discuss. And let me tell you, Isaac Buchanan is an inspiration to me. And he's the reason why next year, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I will be doing law. And because you have to know about what governs you to ensure that you are able to play the best part possible you can. And thank you again for this opportunity to speak to the Jamaican people and reminding them that a FIWI business. And this is,
Sir Byron, can I get 1 more minute, please?
Yes, go ahead.
I want to say something about DPP. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Listen, in the current constitution we have now, Section 93, I believe, if my recollection served me well, Section 93, it talks about the powers of the DPP. I mean, it is ridiculous to give someone who's so corrupt, appoint them to be DPP. Under the Constitution right now, as it is, she has the power and the authority to stop any prosecution that she feels deemed to stop. She don't have to go by the rule of law or the merits on the case. It's all about her judgment. And she has the power also to start any prosecution she wants to start. So I strongly believe that when Comrade Leader Mark Gold, and I don't speak on the behalf of the People National Party, even though he's on my command heights from Buckingham days. But when Comrade, and this is just my opinion, when Comrade Leader Mark Golden formed the next government, my recommendation, if he would listen to me, a preacher from foreign, if he would listen to me, is that I believe that he should get rid of the office of the DPP, the office of the Director of Corruption
Prosecution.
Yeah, get rid of them 2 offices there. And I believe that he should streamline and strengthen the Integrity Commission and make the Integrity Commission be like a type of the US FBI, and call it the Jamaica Federal Bureau of Investigation. And then they need to bring MOCA underneath them, CTAC underneath them, FID underneath them, tax administration underneath them, and let them govern the nation as it relates to illicit enrichment and prosecuting corruption, widespread, whether it's in government, public sector, because we have to learn our lesson from this criminal organization that we have in government right now. And these things that we see manifest and happen within the last, going back to when he was first Minister of Education in 2007, and then formulating the offshore company ADMAT in 2008, becoming a part of SSL as a shareholder in 2008. Prior to SSL, it was Paul Cheng Young and Associate. Also FID, FinSAC, the debacle, the Ponzi scheme, all of these things. This is what you need to empower a Jamaica Bureau of Investigations to make sure these things never happen again.
Oops, his internet's starting again.
Oh, it seems like Pastor Ricky, internet is acting up, so we are going to squeeze into that space. But I want, as it relates to what I said earlier, right? Speaking about the primary case, right? Why the government want to keep Paula LLwelyn in power? Because this case that I'm going to present, right? This has all the demons. When I said all the demons, right? This is a case that have all the demons, and this is a case that Andrew Holness doesn't want to be exposed. Because if this exposed, trust me, most of us are going to shock out of our blues. There are more corruption in this case more than any other case. This case is going to reveal everything and unfold all the corruption. This is what we call the domino ripple effect. So if you line out several dominoes right in a row and you touch the first one, right, it will have a ripple effect that every domino will come falling down. This is the case, right? And remember what Paula LLwelyn says. He says he's a wise and astute prosecutor that will work in collaboration with the investigator, right, to make a successful prosecution. But even although, right, Paula LLwelyn said that, look on the case that I'm going to present. This case, Jamaica need to be aware of. This is the primary case. That if this case unfolds, it is going to have what we call a domino ripple effect. Without any delay, lift up this case on it. Incomplete file, delaying, rolling on. Let us show you how devious Paula LLwelyn is. Let us bring up this case to the Jamaican people. Let the Jamaican people know, be aware that this case is the primary case, right? Now, this is the case that Paula LLwelyn, right, is waiting for. Yes, Paula LLwelyn. This is the case, right, that you're waiting for. Incomplete file delaying ruling on further charges in SSL case. The DPP sits on this. Paula LLwelyn, let me go back to what you said. You said it's only a wise and astute prosecutor work with the investigators to bring about a successful case. I'm telling Jamaica, right, locally and in the diaspora, that this is the case that you spits on. It's in your office, right? Charges have been recommended by FID and Crawl, and you sit on it. You're an evil woman. Now let us play. Let us show it. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution has clarified that it has not made a ruling on whether further charges should be laid in the Stocks and Security Limited SSL fraud case because it is still awaiting outstanding documents from the Financial Investigation Division FID. Me and you tonight. Me and you tonight. This week, Opposition Leader Mark Golding suggested the office was dragging its feet. And yes, Mark Golding, you are right. My comrade leader, you are right. Right? Paula LLwelyn, the office of the DPP is dragging her feet. But let me tell you something, Paula LLwelyn. Statute of limitation cannot use on this, you know. Abuse of process cannot use in this, you know. We are watching you in a Paula LLwelyn. I said tonight I'm going to deal with you in relation to the delivery of a ruling. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark Nicanatis later stated that he was confident that the office will make a ruling very soon. Yes, you Ghana all know the office not make no ruling. You all trickster. You all liar, you all deceiver. Now, however, in a media release on Friday afternoon, Director of Public Prosecutions Paula LLwelyn said that there are outstanding documents which are beneficial that have not yet been obtained from the FID investigation. Paula LLwelyn, right? You only have one person as scapegoat, which is the wealth advisor, right? And nobody in Jamaica seems to have any knowledge of what is happening to the wealth advisor. Even when the wealth advisor spoke that it is you, Kraskery, who had given her the permission to say what she had said. None of you Paula LLwelyn, have not interrogated, right? Have not interrogated you, Kraskery, all now. Nothing you have done. However, in a media release on Friday afternoon, Director of Public Prosecution Paula LLwelyn said that there are outstanding documents which are beneficial that have not yet been obtained from the field investigators. Liar tell her, me tell her that. She said that the first set of documents in the case were submitted to her office in November 2023. And this document that was submitted to you, Paula LLwelyn, I am telling you that FID and CRAL completed their investigation, and in what had been submitted to you, they recommend 4 persons to be charged. And you, Paula LLwelyn, sit on this document and you don't want to charge anyone who FID and CRAL had recommended for you to charge. You're a hypocrite. She said since then, the office and the FID have had meetings to discuss the file and provide guidance to the investigators in relation to the outstanding material. What outstanding material are you talking about? The last set of documents received from the FID was on March 6, 2024, and thereafter a meeting was arranged for the end of March to discuss all the material submitted thus far, the DPP stated. She revealed that the file is comprised of over 3,000 pages. Within those 3,000 pages, the FID and CRAL recommended charges. What about that? You are seeking more material to do what? Documentary material. She said each time additional material is submitted. What about the material that had already submitted to you and charges recommended by FID and CRAL for those persons to be charged? Why you don't charge those persons? The 4-member ODPP team has had to review the file in its entirety, making assessment about what material is outstanding, which offenses may arise, and whether the office will be able to mount a viable prosecution based on the material. No, Paula LLwelyn, why you don't allow the judiciary? Why you don't allow, you know what, take this away, let me talk with you. Let me talk with things to the people. Paula LLwelyn. No. You are saying, let me just tell the people what is going on here. When the SSL case became known, it was Nigel Clark who came out and said to the public that as a result of the magnitude of the case, right, him would have to go outside to seek professional help for this case. Having said that, he's saying that our Jamaican investigators don't have the full capacity to investigate SSL case. Let us unpack it, people. Let us unpack it. So if Nigel Clark, that represents the government, being the Minister of Finance, right, having dialogue with the DPP, right, and in totality with the government, and they had come, right, to a decision in saying that let us seek external help, professional help, right, because the professionals have the capacity and the range to investigate this case. Now, that is what being said. Nigel Clark came out, lied to us that FBI was investigating. We later proved that that was a lie. Anyway, Nigel Clark used taxpayers' money, millions of dollars, to go and get fraud. Okay. Based on CRAL history that we investigated, CRAL had done many investigations globally speaking. So CRAL came in, right, and worked in collaboration with FID and put a comprehensive report together. And in completion of the comprehensive report, CRAL and FID made recommendations of persons to be charged. I am saying to Paula LLwelyn, for the material that provided and the recommendation, right, for those persons to be charged. Why you don't give the judiciary a chance? Give the judiciary a chance for the well-learned judges, right, to make a determination on the case, right, as opposed to you deciding that, okay, you want more material, right, to put it in the case. Now, let me refer something to you. So then, this is the same thing that you'd have done with that Rimper case. This is the very same thing that you'd have done with that Rimper case. You understand? In not putting that Rimper case in the judiciary. Now that Rimper case gone into the judiciary, what the judge decided? The judge decided that based on the evidence being collected as it relates to the Integrity Commission investigators doing their investigation, collected their evidence, dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. What the judge decided? The judge decided that, yes, there is a case that Rimper needs to answer for. Now let us go back, right, to the NWC president. Now you see now what I'm saying to you now, DPP, that if you had taken away yourself in terms of your decision-making process as it relates to how corrupted you are, wanted to weaponize your office politically using statute of limitation and abuse of process. If you had put the NWC case right in the court with evidence that that been collected, right, the judge would have ruled something else. You did not give that opportunity for it to go into the judiciary because obviously of your political alignment, right? There is much in SSL that need to be discovered as it relates to who are the persons who involved in SSL. It is not only Andrew Holness alone benefited from SSL. No, why you don't want the public to know that? Talk to me now, DPP. You don't want the public to know that SSL really benefit a lot of members of parliament. You don't want people to know that also SSL, you understand, used as a mechanism, you understand, to definitely benefit the Jamaica Labour Party campaign. You never understand why you cross-carry call Andrew Holness Prince Andrew. Why you think you cross-carry call Andrew Holness Prince Andrew? Because you cross-carry is getting all the benefit that he needs to get. Why you think that the wealth advisor said, okay, I was forced to say what I said. Then since the wealth advisor said that she was coerced in saying what she said, DPP, Paula LLwelyn, you have the power. The Constitution has given you the power. So based on that alone, you should know, you understand, bring forth you cross-carry. Why haven't you bring forth you cross-carry? Let me ask you another question, Paula LLwelyn. Why the Constitution gives you the power to start a case? Why have you not zoomed in to Patrick Bailey?
Yeah.
Because Patrick Bailey broad like sharpshooter. And Patrick Bailey set up all the companies, the shell companies for Andrew Holness. Right? Why you don't want to touch that? As if you understand the Constitution don't give you the right to judge it, to deal with that. So then what you are dealing with is what I call convenient justice. Right? This is what you are dealing with, Paula LLwelyn. Right? So then all of these cases that you brought in the seminar, that it's only an astute and wise prosecutor. So are we now to say that you are saying to us that you are not wise? That is what you are saying to us. That, okay, right, based on what is happening, right, I am not wise. My prosecutors are not wise. Right? And so then we are having this situation where we only can utilize abuse of process and the case statute bar. Is that what you are saying to the Jamaican people? Right? That is what Jamaican taxpayers are paying you for the Paula LLwelyn? Right? When you look in St. Lucia, right? When you look in Nevis, right? Their DPP work. Yes. Right? And the DPP ensure that they prosecute. What happened to you, Paula? Eh? You was a careless letdown, right? You are not working for the Jamaican people. You are working for Andrew Willis and its administration. That is who you are working for, right? So the NWC president cannot be charged. We have Rural Reed out there running all over the place and acting with confidence. Right, want to now go on the campaign trail. And if you don't stand strong, of course, Andrew Willis want to take time for pulling me back, right, after millions of dollars that he had taken from the education ministry. No surprise there. No surprise there, right? But I'm telling you that everything's slowly coming to an end, right? Because now we are going to start now with Dalrymple as an example, right? And then, of course, we go in more. Because trust me, as I said, the entire Jamaica Labour Party, you understand, is a criminal network.